It's time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure. So let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode of the Up North Journal podcast is brought to you by PSE Archery,
Black Eagle Arrows,
Scent Blocker,
Killer Food Plots,
Cabela's,
Spot Shooters,
Antler Action,
Family Traditions Tree Stands,
Tom's Custom Turkey Calls,
and Badass Slingshots.
Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal podcast, everybody. I'm host Mike Adams, sitting in the cabin tonight with Dan DeFall. What's going on, Danny?
Not much. What's happening? We're back. It's Sunday night. We're back live streaming. We're back on the podcast.
What happened to all the cold? All this cold weather just came back in. I'm not liking it.
I know. I wish the cold weather would move out finally.
I'm ready for turkey season.
I'm ready for turkey season too. You know what? I think I heard we're going to get into the 60s a day or two this week. So we got to be turning the corner, right?
Yeah, I would hope so. You know, deer season's never over.
No, it's not.
You know, I mean, we're working on our property up north. You're working on your place. It just goes from one step to the next.
Absolutely.
Roll back into when season opens again. But, you know, I'm ready for turkey season.
You know what? I am ready for turkey season. And speaking of that, next weekend, we'll just announce this right at the beginning of the show. Next weekend, you and I are going to be at Cabela's in Saginaw for the Turkey Classic.
Yep, we'll be up there Saturday and Sunday.
Right, we'll be there doing our thing at Cabela's and showing some people about...
Giving seminars.
Yeah, giving a couple seminars about what to wear and...
What to do, what not to do.
Yeah. Don't wear orange.
That's right. Don't wear orange.
But you know what? It is exciting. It's getting to be about that time. Matter of fact, next weekend is time change.
No kidding?
Next weekend is time change. Next Saturday night. So you're going to lose an hour of sleep going from Saturday to Sunday.
I did not know that.
So, yeah, but, I'm getting excited for turkey season. People are starting to... I think Ian saw a turkey today. He was all excited. I was excited. And...
was he in Kansas or was he over in Iowa? Where was he at?
I think he said he was in Iowa.
Okay. All right.
But, everybody talks about going out Midwest.
Well, yeah, and speaking of, everything we just talked about, we're going to cover tonight.
Absolutely. We are going to cover it.
Because we got somebody online with us right now.
Right now.
Who we got?
We got Joe Conyers from Conyers Outdoors from Belleville, Kansas.
Joe, you with us?
Yes, sir. How you guys doing?
Hey, doing good. First thing I want to know is, what's the weather like in Kansas right now?
Right now it's about 60. We got up to 74 today.
You're killing me, man.
Yeah, you're killing me. 74.
It's windy.
You're killing me.
It's windy? Oh, jeez.
Last few days have been pretty warm.
It is windy. It was windy all day today. I was outside a little bit working in the garage, and it was a bit windy. But, yeah. But, Joe, you do some turkey hunting and buck hunting. But before we go into the turkey side of it, I want to talk to you about this little buck you got called Madusa. You shot this buck. You posted it on Facebook. What did that score?
Gross scored 233 and 7/8.
Gross at 233 and 7/8. That's incredible.
And you nicknamed it Madusa. Okay, so why did you nickname it Madusa?
Well, me and my wife, the first trail camera picture that we got of it, we were looking at it, and we literally said the same thing at the same time. So we just thought from there on, that's the way we got to be. It just popped into our heads and of looking at the rack line because everything is just going some new directions, you know.
The name just fit. I mean, obviously, once anybody sees the picture, you kind of know why.
We'll put the picture up on our Facebook site, and you can tell for yourselves why he nicknamed this Madusa. But you shot this buck with, was this a rifle?
Crossbow.
Oh, crossbow. Okay.
Well,
crossbow, yes.
Okay, you mentioned that you'd seen it on trail cam. Did you see it on trail cam the season you shot it, or had you been watching this buck for a while after you first saw it?
I'd watched this buck for a couple years. I got his sheds from 2 years before, and he actually was a typical buck. And didn't find the sheds from last year, but he evidently had an injury and went non-typical from some injuries. And so I had a little bit of history with him, and I wasn't expecting him to be Madusa.
Okay.
He would be a 160, 170 class, 9-point heavy mass.
Okay.
Buck with his typical frame. But so as soon as I saw that, I knew we had something special.
It's something special, I guess so.
After all said and done,
Yeah.
scoring in the 230s, yeah, something a little special there. But okay, so you shot him with a crossbow. When did you shoot him?
October 13th.
Ooh, middle of October.
Okay.
Nice. And how far was he out?
Well, I tell you what, just take us
Beginning
through
of
this whole hunt.
Beginning of the October lull.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
Beginning of the lull. We got the pictures, and we decided to not hunt anything and just keep watching our cameras. And it got close to evening daylight, so we moved in for a hunt, and me and my wife hunted together. And we had 5 bucks that came in, a 170, 160, 150, 110, 120-ish, and then a small yearling buck. And then the Madusa was, of course, the last deer to come in. And we waited, and finally he came in. I had him at 15 yards wide open, and I don't know, the good Lord came upon me and said, "Let your wife shoot him." So I passed this deer at 15 yards and let him walk on by to get into her window to shoot the deer. She had a good shot, but there was a branch that she didn't see, and her being a lot shorter than me, it wouldn't have been a problem for me, but for her it was, she got a deflection, scared the bucks out. The arrow actually deflected quite a ways before the deer, so it didn't even get close to the deer.
Okay.
It actually almost turned to 90 degrees off and flipped off to the side from a mechanical bothead opening up when it hit the twig. And so it didn't scare him too bad. So we got the same buck. Madusa was back on the same trail camera later that night. So we decided to back off and just watch cameras again. And it was about 2 weeks later to where we started getting close to daylight again. And so we both went out and hunted together, and we didn't see him. We saw the regular deer, but no Madusa. The next evening, Susie was feeling a little ill, so she stayed in, and I went to hunt him. And then that's when he came in. He came in, quartered to me. He started coming in at first, and there was a little button buck that kept running up behind him trying to smell him. And he got mad about it, and he turned and chased him, and they left. And I thought at that point, oh, he's gone. He's going to chase him off. And I only had about 18 minutes of shooting light left. So I'm watching through my binos. I finally see some tines in the grass. And then they disappear. They pop back up. They disappear. I can't tell what's Madusa yet, just the tips. And then finally he raises his head all the way up. I see it's him. Put my binos down. Get ready. I've already went through buck fever from the first time of seeing him and him leaving and coming back. So I am stone cold and ready. No heart rate problems. Everything's steady. Comes in, quarters to me, straight on, quarters to me again, and finally gets turned. You get the perfect broadside shot at 21 yards. Shoots through him. He runs away. 2 seconds, he's over the hill. I can't see nothing. I don't know. It all happened so fast I couldn't see where my shot hit him for sure. I knew it hit him good, but wasn't for sure. So he disappeared, and then I just sat in the blind and waited. And then I called Susie, and we talked about it for a little bit. I waited about an hour and a half before I even got out of the blind because, it's Kansas, it's wide open. As soon as I get out of the blind and take a couple steps, if the deer was not dead, he would see me and react, of course, and that's a bow hunter's worst nightmare, to jump a deer shot. So not knowing for sure where I shot him, I waited a long time. Finally got out. Couldn't find any blood, but it was just a alfalfa field. So I started just walking my way through it, and there were some high patches in it, and just basically walked right to the deer. He only went about 75 yards, and bedded down and fired there. So I found him and put the light on him, looked in, and I couldn't. And for the next 4 or 5 weeks, I was in this fog of unbelief, of almost feeling that, why would the good Lord bless me with such an animal, and why would my wife miss it and I would get it? You know, just all them thoughts. I actually sat down there with the deer and talked to the deer, prayed to the good Lord. I got so emotional that I actually puked and couldn't contain it. You know, 35 years of bow hunting, and it had all finally come together. I had bow hunted with regular bows my whole life until 2 years ago, and I've been having shoulder problems, and I can't shoot my regular bow to the standard I feel I should be able to shoot it. So I've been using a Butte crossbow for the last couple of years to bow hunt. But, you know, after all the dreams as a kid and all the years of hard hunting to, you know, dreaming of a deer that caliber, you know, we all have those dreams. We all dream about it every year. You know, that's why we work so hard at it. It all came together. And it all came as a blessing from the good Lord, really, because this deer meant so much more than just my hunting career. You know, it means the future of my business, the future of my family, and so many other things, you know, that this deer meant. And so, you know, that's how I got him. And you know, family came back and helped me. We did some pictures and just talked and celebrated. And then it took three of us we could barely get this thing loaded into the Suburban. I kind of have a bad back, and so it took all three of us. We barely got him in there. Yeah, he was live weighted 354.
354. That was live weight.
Yeah, it was his live weight, and you know, thinking potentially a full body mount. I didn't gut him. You know, I took him to my butcher and had him. He's one of the best skinners in the state, so we had him keep him out. And then I donated all his meat to the local homeless shelter. I try to do that with my first deer every year, and then after that, then I donate to some friends, and then of course fill my own freezer too. Right
on. You know, I can relate to an emotional impact of an animal of that magnitude. You know, we all go through different hunts or different things in life that impact us differently. But I remember when my daughter, people on the show have heard this story before, but when my daughter shot her first deer with a bow when she was the day after her 11th birthday, and I don't know who was shaking more, me or her, and then I just broke down emotionally. It's amazing how an animal can bring out such raw emotion, you know, and
right.
It's that's what I love about hunting.
Yeah, it's a special connection, and there's not anything else that we can do on this earth to get those kind of connections and those kind of memories together.
Absolutely.
Well, a better way to spend them with your family, you know.
Absolutely, that is just a phenomenal, balled up emotion. You know, and we talked about this before on the show about the emotions in hunting, ups, downs, sideways.
Right.
And you can have them all wrapped up into one. And with Joe here, that's exactly what it was. You know, all like you said, hunting since he was little. Here he gets his buck.
Yeah, you know, it's something like that every guy and every girl dreams of shooting at one day. You know, a 200-inch plus buck, or, you know, I mean, for us here in Michigan where we hunt, you know, at 130, 140, 150 caliber, you know, you're putting your work in. You know, we just don't have deer that big. They're few, very, very few and far between. I'm not saying we don't have them, but in northern Michigan where we hunt, we just don't have the agricultural nutrition to be able to raise deer that big.
Right.
So.
Right, and we don't have that in the UP either.
Right.
So.
No, it's a magnificent buck.
Yeah, that's one thing Kansas definitely has, is we have such a variety of habitat and so much food. You know, we've got ag, we've just got ag everywhere, and everything that isn't ag is cover.
Right.
You know, and there's just the population of people is very, very small out here. So you don't have the hunting pressure. So the deer don't react the same way. The deer aren't as skittish as they are back east.
Right.
And then so you get, you know, I would say half of the land out here at least does not get hunted.
Okay.
Either it's not allowed, or nobody has time to hunt it. So you know, you get the age factor coming in, which that's what makes the big ones. You know, you got to have the age. And a lot of areas of the country, they don't get, you know, the deer just don't get the chance to get old enough to become a trophy like that. But
Right.
Out here they do, there's not enough hunting and enough animals survive and make it onto those older ages to do that.
Right, and also in Kansas, you're allowed one buck, correct?
Yeah, we only have a 1 buck limit, and then we also only have a 12-day rifle season, and it's post-rut. So, but those two factors probably help quite a bit. The DNR really stays on top of their doe harvesting here. They won't overharvest does. They'll cut them down in a second, A lot of states have problems, cutting down their doe tags once they start selling so many.
So I take it your state practice, the DNR manages the herd well enough. They practice like the core principles of QDM to keep things in check out there?
Somewhat, but really the biggest plus is there's not enough population and not enough hunters to really do any changes to the numbers of deer or the age class of deer.
Okay.
So the deer herd just stays at Mother Nature's level, basically. So you have an age structure from 0 to 10, 1 to 10-year-old deer, and even possible older in some cases.
Right.
Like some healthy deer that make it a little longer. And so, and there's not enough people harvesting deer to take out all of the one age class of the deer in 1 year or anything like that. So there's always, it's always been a moderate harvest and a good harvest. Most of the people that live here, the local traditions, they try to shoot mature deer, or to eat, they shoot does.
Okay.
So with the local people, back east tradition, we used to shoot anything. A lot of people still do, and that's okay if that's all you're there for is meat. But if you're a guy who's trophy hunting, of course he wants to let things grow. But that's just kind of what keeps it in balance here. It really sits at Mother Nature's level. We have just as many bucks as we do does, and then in our buck population we have 3-year-old and older bucks. Half of our buck population is 3 years and older. Back in Indiana, for example, about 85% of the buck population of the state is 1.5-year-old bucks. So, and usually 70-80% of the harvest in Indiana is 1.5-year-old bucks.
We're bumping up on our first break here. We're going to stop for just 1 second here. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Joe about this buck that he shot, and also about the turkeys that are out in that area. So we're going to step outside. We'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has always dominated the speed category. Now, the most revolutionary cam system ever to hit the market has perfected the shooting experience. Introducing PSE's Evolve Cam System, featuring extremely high let-off capabilities and the smoothest draw cycle in history. No other cam system has ever delivered this level of total comfort and total control. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
Throughout human history, one notorious killer has remained at the top and claimed more lives than any war or natural disaster combined. Mosquitoes. It's time to arm yourself and protect your family this season with Scent Blocker's new Bug Blocker for insects. Lasting up to 8 hours, Bug Blocker not only repels biting mosquitoes that can carry the West Nile virus, but other biting insects, including chiggers, biting flies, gnats, and ticks which can carry Lyme disease. Field tested by outfitters and guides from Alaska to Alabama and everywhere in between. The results are in, and Bug Blocker flat out works. In a high-potency sportsman strength dosage, using 25% no-nonsense DEET, plus 2 specific ingredients to target biting flies, Bug Blocker plays for keeps. For ultimate protection, pair Bug Blocker insects with Bug Blocker ticks.
Welcome back, everybody. Second segment of the Up North Journal. Sitting here talking with Joe Conyers from Conyers Outdoors about Madusa. We talked about the buck, we talked about the hunt, and all that. After you took this buck, Joe, you had a little bit of fallback from something was it online or was it with your neighbor? What happened?
This is the part that caught my attention when I saw this on Facebook. He was out there, he posted this buck. You can see the smile on the guy's face about this buck. And what's a little bit of the backlash you got, Joe, from putting this out on Facebook?
Yeah, the typical thing. I had never killed a buck of that caliber, and as soon as I started hunting the buck, I even had some people tell me a few things to watch out for if you did kill him. And sure enough, the things they'd warned me about it evidently, happened to most people. And I had people ridiculing me for shooting the buck because I'm an outfitter. And nobody really knew the story, but we had a 70-day gap, and we only had a few deer hunters. This is our first year to start our deer operation back up, and so me and my wife decided that we should hunt and try to showcase the best that we could, for the company. So, I had a lot of people calling me out about that, saying I shouldn't have shot the deer. There was other people that were just, I guess, just jealous or whatever. I lost friends about it. A lot of people unfriended me on Facebook for no reason that I know of, just whatever their personal reasons were. Even got as far as to someone called the DNR, and they come and investigated where I shot the deer and everything.
So what were they? So when they were investigating, what were they? When they were investigating, what they came out and investigated where you shot? What were they looking for?
I don't know. Whatever evidence they could find that would be, illegal or poaching or anything like that. I'm not sure what story they got told to where they would cause the investigation. But they did. So, and they did their investigation. They never even spoke to me. I just seen them doing it and heard through the grapevine about it and stuff. And we live in small towns out here, things, all the information gets around. But so somebody was jealous. The landowner's son does work for another outfitter. I possibly thought it might have been him or whatever, but who knows, but nothing came from it. And, I killed the deer legally and fair and square and on my property and all that. So nothing came from it from then, but that's how extreme it gets. I guess, people... we all hunt really hard for bucks like that, and some guys just can't handle it when the other guy gets it, I guess. And then so there comes all your haters, the hate thing.
You shot my buck.
Jealousy. Jealousy/hate,
Yeah.
I was hunting 50 acres in a square mile that has 5 other hunters hunting in the square mile.
Mm-hmm.
So, it could have been a number of people. Who knows? But, by far and above, the good things from Madusa outweigh the any of the bad stuff I've had to go through. It has given enough exposure to where we get your animal rights activists and people that just hate hunters. Of course we've gotten the death threats and the bad messages and all that stuff too. But that pretty much comes with any type of hunting that gets any kind of exposure.
Right.
You get enough exposure, and you're going to get those kind of things.
If you're in the game long enough, it's going to come around. Yep, absolutely.
Right.
You
just ignore them and move on with your day and go about your business and don't even pay them any mind.
Okay, you just answered the question I was going to. How did you go about dealing with this? You just go about it, let it go. Don't even acknowledge that type of talk. Just ignore it.
Yeah, I'm human. I got suckered into a little bit here and there, of course.
Right.
Because I'm an emotional person too.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, the good outweighed the bad. So really, after a couple of days of dealing with it and getting through a couple of things, then I had the attitude to where it just rolled right off my shoulders after that. Because I know what kind of deer it is. I know what size he is. I know how hard it is to kill deers like that, and I know how hard it is just to have an opportunity to even hunt a deer like that.
Right.
It just doesn't happen.
Right.
And the way it all did happen, I would have to say that it was planned by God. It was His blessing for me for the hard work and dedication I've had through my life in the hunting industry.
Right on.
I also passed that opportunity to my wife first, and gave it out for her. So, I feel I deserve the buck. I've hunted just as hard as anybody else has.
Right.
Through my life. So, I'm proud of him. He's a great, awesome deer, who wouldn't be?
Right.
Let's party.
Okay, well, now let's talk about the good. You know, we see deer like this. You know, I've put my hands on antlers like that just very few times, and it's not been because I shot the buck. It's been because somebody else has, and I've been at a show and actually seen it, and they let me hold it, what have you. The good that comes out of this, I mean, it's amazing how an animal, just the sheer size of antlers and body-wise, and age class, how it changes somebody's life, how it changes somebody's business. What's this really meant for you and your wife, for as far as your outfitting goes and your lives?
Oh, it's meant everything. I mean, literally, you know, we're a small company, and we don't, you know, we're not into flashy advertising and stuff like that, and didn't really have a lot of budget to, you know, try to be like the big companies and stuff. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it means a lot because it's given us the exposure as much exposure as a big company. Mm-hmm. You know, as people paying $50,000 and $100,000 for advertising.
Right.
You know, it blows up on Instagram and of course Facebook and many other places that I don't even know about. You know, spread far and wide. So it gave our business and company name, you know, the exposure it needed, and it literally set us up for the rest of, you know, Conyers Outdoors' existence. It's probably the foundation of the company.
Right on.
That's how much it meant.
Okay.
A game changer.
You know,
well, you know, speaking about your outdoor company and your outfitting company, your game is just not deer. You deal with other things as well. You offer turkey hunts. You know, we're going to open it up now and give you an opportunity. Talk a little bit about Conyer Outdoors, and we know what the deer's meant to you now, but we're going to give you a chance to talk about it and share with others what you have to offer.
Well, we do mature whitetail deer hunts. We try to hunt 140, 150 class and bigger deer. We also do turkey hunts, and we do the Rio Grande in Kansas, and we do the Merriam and Merriam hybrid in Nebraska. And then we also book Goulds and oscillated hunts in Mexico and the Osceola in Florida. So we actually book every species of turkey.
Okay.
We can hook you up with a Grand Slam, a Royal Slam, a World Slam, or even just a great 2-state 5-bird combo hunt out west here. And so we do, you know, all the turkeys, and then we do the deer. We're going to probably be opening up deer in Nebraska, too, here before too long, just not far from the Kansas border, so it'll still be really quality hunting.
Okay.
And then we also do predator hunting, and we also do some trapping packages, too, in the off-season in January and February to try to help with our predator program, get as many of them out as we can, save as many turkey and deer as we can, and just help everything out good with that. That's pretty much our extent of the hunting that we're doing now. We might add some waterfowl hunting in the future because we've got just vast, awesome waterfowl out here too. But we need more people to do that, of course. So, you know, from what we got going now, we're, you know, my wife and my other guy, we are busy as could be.
You know, that's something that's interesting you just mentioned. I wasn't even, it was the first thing from my mind talking about, but since you brought it up, the manager of our camp, the camp that I hunt out of, he hunts a lot in Missouri and Kansas, and he talked about Kansas in the amount of waterfowl there, but he says there's not a lot of people that hunt waterfowl in that area. He said it's more, like you said, turkey and deer and what have you. So is that something you're starting to see more people do in that area? Or I mean, or there locally where you're at, is there a lot of waterfowl hunting that goes on?
No, not really. There's not much waterfowl hunting, really. Waterfowl hunting would maybe be 10% of the hunting out here. And the biggest hunting draw is pheasant and quail hunting. That's the hunting tradition of the people out here out west. Okay. So really, for the local people, I would say 80% of the hunters, of the local hunters, they are bird hunters. And then the other 20% are deer hunters and coyote hunters and very small amount of turkey hunters that actually live here. Most of the people that turkey hunt out here have moved here like me. Okay. Or are just they're an odd person, you know, because so that, you know, therefore, you know, we've got lots of turkeys, and turkeys don't get hunted that much, and there's so much habitat. Everything is habitat for the turkeys out here, so they do as well as Mother Nature will allow them. Right. Which is always spectacular. You know, I mean, really anywhere in the country, you know, the turkey hunting out west here is some of the best.
Also, I noticed on your page you're doing something a little different here too. You're actually selling some product. You have hats and T-shirts, of course, and things like that. But you're selling mouth calls and different turkey calls.
Yeah, we used to do all the different turkey calls. We haven't made any this year. Outfitting business has gotten to the point to where we had to back out of producing most turkey calls, but we are doing mouth calls again, and we will be starting up our turkey call shop again in the future. But we used to make box calls, pot calls, owl hooters, dove hooters, and a few other calls like that, and then also mounted turkey decoys.
Okay. How do you find time to do all this? I mean, you got your hands in a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah, you work daylight to dark, and then you spend most of your evenings, on your social media and catching up on all that kind of stuff, and you just got to work hard at it. And really, once I became full-time into this, I haven't really felt like I've been working. I've just been doing everything I love to do. So, if you're doing what you love to do, then it's not work.
Right on.
So, literally, any minute you're awake, I'm open all the time, really. I love to talk to everybody, and so, I'm constantly on the phone, with potential clients and clients for the hunts and all that. But, it does get busy, and, of course, we just hired a full-time guide, and then we've got seasonal guides coming in this year to help out. So I'm hoping that by the time we get through this spring that I'll be able to take a day off here and there.
Take a vacation.
So I'm still in it to win it until that point, But I do need a little time off here and there for a lot of work, and it's grown so much now to where it's consuming. But what better thing to do, and I'm glad I'm doing it.
Right, and also you're doing something. I've seen you posted this on Facebook. When you do get back into selling all your calls and stuff, the proceeds from your calls are going to be going to something special, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're going to be donating all our proceeds from our shirts and hats and calls to our youth program, and that's where we fund youth to come and hunt with us, underprivileged or sick youth, and or they want to come and hunt turkeys, and we'll bring them out all expenses paid, take care of them, feed them real good, have just the greatest time, and get them on some of their turkeys. Maybe some of them be their first turkey, either way, and then we try to cover all their expenses to where it doesn't cost them anything, and they can go. The parents can come with them, also, and be able to have a great time and be able to do something like that they otherwise wouldn't get the chance to do, And that's just our way of giving back. I mean, we've been blessed to be able to even do this job, and then also blessed again and again and again, and then this fall blessed again with these awesome bucks. So it's only right in my heart to, and that has always been a dream of mine, to be able to provide hunts for kids that couldn't go hunting. I grew up in the city, and I know how many kids are in the city. They're stuck there, and a good portion of them would just love to go hunting. So we feel it our duty to try to get as many out there as we can. Help out as much as possible.
Kind of like paying it forward in the hunting community.
Well, that's what it's about.
Right.
That's the next generation of hunters. Without them, we don't have hunting anymore. Once we're gone, it's sad to say, but true.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Right. And there's so many single mother or divorced families and children that don't have fathers or even an uncle or grandpa or anybody to take them out. So all of us other people need to pitch in and see how many of them we can get out there.
Absolutely.
We can't get them all, but we can sure try.
Well, I tell you what, we got just a few minutes here. We're going to give you an opportunity here. If somebody wants to book a hunt with you, or somebody wants to take a look at some of your products that you got for sale, how are they going to be able to get in touch with you? Where would they go?
Well, they can go to Conyer'sOutdoors.com, and that's our website. You can get in communication with us there. You can also go to Facebook, Conyers Outdoors page. You can message us there, and then all of our contact info is also on there. And you can also call me directly, and my phone number is on the page there in the website. So I'm just a cell phone call away from anybody that wants to book a hunt or even has questions about booking a hunt, or we just simply like to talk about turkey or deer.
There you go.
And what we'll do is we'll put up a banner up on our website with a link to ConyersOutdoors.com.
There you go.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, it's been a pleasure talking with you. I know we had a little bit of technical difficulty here getting through to this point in the show, but we apologize for it. But we really appreciate you taking a little bit of time out on a Sunday evening, sitting and talking with us.
Hey, no problem.
All right. We're going to step out.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. We're going to step outside and take our next break, and we'll be right back after this.
So what do you do when you've completely redefined the way bows are engineered? When you've reached the pinnacle and the band starts playing your victory song, you start a revolution out of thin air. Introducing the all-new PSE Carbon Air, engineered with true carbon technology to be the lightest high-performance bow in the world. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
Killer Food Plots have been helping property owners for over 20 years create premier whitetail habitat. Whether replenishing your soil with their all-natural Organics Fusion pellets or planting a premier KFP food plot seed blend to help your deer rebuild their bodies through spring and summer while supplying the much-needed high energy during and after the rut, you can trust that Killer Food Plots family and their products will help your deer achieve their full potential.
Welcome back to the segment of the show, everybody. Sitting in the cabin with Danny, hanging out.
What an interview.
It was a good interview. Dude, that was a huge buck.
Dude, that is an enormous buck.
It was incredible.
He talked about being a once in a lifetime. Yeah, you think?
And what else is incredible is the fact that why are there haters out there? Antler envy. It's like really we see this time and time again.
I always refer to them as the basement dwellers.
Right.
Is they got nothing better to do than, hey, somebody did something really good. Let's knock them down.
Well, like he said, he didn't say exactly who, didn't really know who, but somebody that called the DNR in.
Oh, that's another one.
It's like, come on. Your name's not tattooed on these deer.
No, they're not. And you know what was kind of funny about that when he said that? The DNR never did ask him. Came to him. They went out and did their little investigation.
Right.
And he had heard it through the grapevine.
Right.
Why not go to him and ask him or go do your investigation, but come and talk to him and say, hey, by the way, we were called out. We went and checked it out. Everything was okay.
Yep.
Not just, and by the way, I heard it through the grapevine. The DNR's
hanging out my property doing an investigation.
Right.
Which to me, I would think, wouldn't they have to let you know?
I would think
if it's on your land,
they're going to go on their land, if on private property, they'd have to let you know that we're going to be going. The reason you're on my land,
there's got to be a warrant of some type to go in and garner an investigation.
Right. So. Exactly. And like you said, this guy does something, and the haters come out, and it's terrible.
So yeah.
But a great interview. We'll check in with him and see how his turkey season goes.
Right on. Well, talking about bucks, big bucks and deer hunting, kind of led off the show talking about the fact that deer season's never truly over.
Never.
Did you happen to see the QDMA question the live stream question thing they did this week?
I saw a little bit of it. We posted it to our Facebook page that they were having. They were talking about the video we posted. I couldn't see it, so tell me about it.
Well, basically, they're doing their deer summit, okay, and they had some downtime, so they were on, I don't know, roughly maybe an hour or so, and there was a bunch of guys there from QDMA, a bunch of the heavy hitters, and they were just fielding questions. You could type in your question, and if they found it there, they'd answer it for you. And I typed one in, and actually they answered my question live, so it was pretty cool.
What did you ask?
Well, you heard me talk about Socks.
Yep.
The piebald doe that we have up at our property that's been there for a year and a half now. She's a year and a half old. She's, this going into this fawning season, she'll be 2. So, and I got to thinking, piebald deer, it's a recessive gene, that gives them that coloring. When you get recessive genes like that, sometimes there's other characteristics that come along with that, and it can pose problems.
Right.
And I asked, okay, so we got a piebald doe that we've kind of, had hands off on, didn't want to shoot her. We just kind of let her go, give her a pass. Is that the right thing to do?
What'd they say?
they said unless she starts throwing other piebald deer, birthing them, that is not a huge concern. But they said it's 1% of the population roughly that are piebald.
1% that are okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So 1 out of every 100, roughly, about 1%. So they said unless you start seeing ramifications of her passing that gene on to other deer, other offspring. So
it'll become almost like an invasive, intrusive gene.
Yeah, so because it can cause other things to go wrong.
And then and truthfully, the way you're working QDM up there, you'll be able to watch it.
Yeah, well, actually, I just saw her a couple weeks ago, so that was kind of cool. I was up there checking out the logging project and actually seen her run across the field. Got some video of her real quick.
I wonder if she is with child.
Don't know. That's one of the things that we're anxious to see what happens this year. And we thought, how cool would it be if she threw a piebald offspring? But what these guys are saying is like, you don't necessarily want that.
I think you don't want it in a massive amount of way.
No,
one out of 100, one here, one there, one I think is okay. Mm-hmm. Kind of neat to look at, really.
Yeah, they're neat to look at, but what you think is good is not always the case.
Absolutely.
How many myths do we hear? Different things we hear about. We've been told about hunting in general or fishing in general in the outdoors. These old tales of, well, you don't do this, you don't do that because of this. Or it's Grandpa never did this because of this reason. And they're myths and legends and things
legends and misnomers and the whole 9 yards that go along with it. So, but yeah, no, it was. It sounded like it. I'm looking at the video right now here. They were on for about 45 minutes.
45 minutes, yeah. I knew it was quite a while. So, but a lot of good questions asked. A lot of guys talking about predation. When's the best time to hunt or trap coyotes? And there's some information coming out recently about not hunting predators up until right before fawning season, and they said the same thing. That's exactly the route that they went with it. They said that the science is telling them because once you evacuate an area of predators, it invites other predators back in. It's carrying capacity.
Right.
So if you're going to do that, you're not going to make a huge impact in the area. It is going to get filled back in eventually. So what you want to do is take out that population as much as you can right before the fawning season to give those fawns the best chance to get up on their feet and get going.
I'd agree with that. Just before they start dropping, go in and whack them. So,
but yeah, just a lot of good information talking about different things to plant, when to plant, how you should go about planting. In the southern zones versus, up here in the north. And, it was just a big melting pot of ideas.
There is a whole dynamic to southern planning, to northern planning, to northern extreme planning.
Right.
It's like, oh, you got to have this tree. Well, this tree doesn't make it up past Traverse City if you plant it. It's just like, okay, that takes out whatever.
Well, we were talking about that this week with the camp manager that I work with at our place. And, we've talked about sawtooth oaks, and we've talked about the American chestnut. The American chestnut now is becoming back on a rebound. We talked a little bit about that on a couple of shows back. But, he's like, well, what else would you like to see? I said, well, there's one thing I'd like to see, but it's not going to happen. He said, what's that? And I said, persimmons. I said, because persimmons don't bear fruit in Michigan. It's too cold.
It's too cold.
Yeah. So we could plant it, the tree would grow, but it wouldn't do anything.
Right.
It wouldn't be of any benefit.
Exactly.
I know, in the South, people use them all the time, and deer love them. So it's one of those catch-22s. We just can't do it. So.
Right, exactly. And that's one of the things. What you can do down south, you can't do north.
Right.
Or plant south, plant north.
Right.
So and we're learning that with Nick Percy at Killer Food Plots.
Right.
Hey, when do you want to plant? Well, you hold off until the soil, until the nighttime temperatures are so and so, and up north it doesn't get there till back then. And it's like, oh, geez.
Yeah. Talking with him last week, you and I, we got on the phone with him last week and talked a little bit. And I was, we're going to do this field of mine,
right?
And I was like, okay, I've got this. I've got the plow. I've got the disc. We're going to make a harrow drag, but I don't have a planter. Any place I can rent a planter? And he's like, you don't need a planter. I'm like, what do you mean you don't need a planter? He goes, no. He says, I recommend broadcast seeding. And I'm like, okay, it's 2 acre field. He goes, yeah, I know.
Walk it, buddy.
You're going to walk it. He said that's the way I like to do my fruit plots.
That's what he said, and that kind of because we were talking when we called him before that. Okay, let's call him and find out. And then he's like, no, I like to broadcast, and that's kind of scratching our heads.
Yeah, I said cultipack it, and then broadcast your seeds, and then cultipack it again.
Yep.
So now I'm looking at a cultipacker,
right,
which is a lot cheaper than a planter.
Yes, the bottom line is it's a lot cheaper. So, but and that's part of it. And it's like Nick likes to the healthy herd. Mm-hmm. And the piebald thing is a little bit a part of it. That's the 1%. You don't want a lot of that. And then so now we go to Nick and let's get some planted and get that healthy herd. And by the way, let's take care of the predators before you have fawn drop. And like we've been saying, right? We're thinking this 365 days.
Deer season never ends.
No, it doesn't. It just it's like the day it closes on January 1st here in Michigan.
That's just shooting season.
Right, exactly. It's like, okay, we can start looking towards spring.
What's the next part of deer season?
Right,
it's truly it is. It's all year.
It is, and that's hunting too. It's one thing, and that's what I like about it. The hunting part is just
a sliver.
Okay, a sliver basically ends up being a quarter of the year with our time. We don't get that much time, but the rest of it is, so now we got to be looking towards planning. Okay, when are we going to be planning? Looks like about July-ish.
Right.
Okay, so that's half the year. Well, we got logging projects going before that. It's like, okay, let's get those finished. And so, it's the never-ending clock.
It just rolls from one right into the other. So, and speaking of rolling, I think we need to roll into our last break of the show here.
All right.
What do you say?
Let's do that.
All right. Well, we got more to discuss here and wrap up the show. When we come back, we're going to step outside and we'll be right back.
I shoot PSE because I like one pin to 40 yards.
I shoot PSE for the perfect combination of feel and performance.
I shoot PSE because you can shoot lighter poundage and increase arrow speed.
I shoot PSE for the fastest bows on the planet.
I shoot PSE because my livelihood depends on my bow.
I shoot PSE because better engineering makes a better bow.
I shoot PSE.
I shoot PSE.
I shoot PSE. I shoot PSE.
Experience PSE. Experience performance.
Throughout human history, one notorious killer has remained at the top and claimed more lives than any war or natural disaster combined. Mosquitoes. It's time to arm yourself and protect your family this season with Scent Blocker's new Bug Blocker for insects. Lasting up to 8 hours, Bug Blocker not only repels biting mosquitoes that can carry the West Nile virus, but other biting insects, including chiggers, biting flies, gnats, and ticks which can carry Lyme disease. Field tested by outfitters and guides from Alaska to Alabama and everywhere in between. The results are in, and Bug Blocker flat out works. In a high-potency sportsman strength dosage, using 25% no-nonsense DEET, plus 2 specific ingredients to target biting flies, Bug Blocker plays for keeps. For ultimate protection, pair Bug Blocker insects with Bug Blocker ticks.
Back, last part of the show. Time to wrap things up.
Wrap it up for another week. And
but before we do, you have got some news about your forestry project.
Yeah, I got an email today. Actually, to take you through the week, contracts were sent to me, signed. Midweek, I was contacted that the logging group wants to get in as soon as possible, and then, because they have the load limits due to the weather,
frost laws.
I think that's what it is, right? So, and then I'm like, okay, and so I'm thinking a couple weeks. Well, I got an email today, Sunday morning, and he said they'll be starting tomorrow on Monday.
Man, that's quick.
Yeah, a little bit. So they're going to start on my property first and work their way. So I'm kind of excited that they're starting so soon. I'm kind of excited that they're starting because I'd like to get those buds off those tops of those trees down to the ground. It's getting into March for the deer up in the upper, and if they're having any type of difficulty, first of all, you're going to have the machinery cutting through the snow in the woods. If there's
making a way for them to get in,
making a way, they're going to be dropping the treetops, so they'll have some browse, and they're going to have plenty of it. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that carries them through March and April, and then
it's going to be really interesting this coming deer season, because when you left your property, you get this vision of what it looks like when you walk away. When you go back, it's going to be completely
different. What? I forgot to email him and say, hey, can you do me a favor and take some pictures?
Yeah.
But I totally forgot about that. But yeah, he's good. It sounds like they're going to start tomorrow. So stay tuned. I don't know how much they're planning on doing or what.
We should have went up and flown the drone over it. That'd have been cool.
Yeah, that would have been cool. And you know what? It'd have been so easy too, because that property we could do it with the drone real easy. Don't worry, we still might. But yeah, so that's exciting news. I'm excited for that to come out, start happening, get that going, and see what I have to deal with come when I go spend my week up there in July.
Yeah.
Right?
It's going to be all new.
It'll be all new, which is fine. I probably got some work to do and go see what kind of trails I have.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what's grown up inside those treetops.
Right,
coming
exactly.
Through, as well. So.
So I'm excited about that. So, but that you know what? Speaking of news, we're gonna have we'll do some releases this week, aren't we?
Yeah, we got a couple of videos that we're going to release. We've already done the PSE Evolve that we did the interview with Bobby Vargas from PSE,
the one and only
at ATA, but. We've got a couple other interviews, actually 3 of them with them. We're going to do the PSE, the new revamped Carbon Air. Like they could make that any better, but they did. Very
You're
cool.
right, they did.
And we've also got the Phenom, their target bow, and the Drive, the Drive RSD, made specifically for shorter stature people or ladies.
Right, exactly. And you know what? And going back to that Phenom, like you said, if you want to get into target shooting but don't want to spend the money, that's a perfectly price point bow
to get into
and start. So that was a great interview, and they're all great interviews, and we're going to be releasing those this week. And
I also got one from Black Eagle coming out.
Black Eagle, Randy Kitts.
Got something new for the traditional archers.
Something new for the traditional archer, and thank you for editing. I'll leave it at that.
I do have that footage, by the way.
I know you do, but
it might be released at a later date.
But you know what? We got to talk to him because he, like you said, he's got arrows for recurves coming out, and he shot a moose with one.
Yep,
with his recurve.
Yep.
You know, so
we got to hear about that story.
Right, we got to hear the story. You hear it in the interview that he missed it at 25. He had to let it go to 37 till you had to shoot it.
Yeah.
So, but we'll try to get him on. We'll get that about the moose.
And working on several other interviews we did at ATA that are coming to fruition and just about done. So
right, exactly. And the other video we released this week was the feathers, the True Flight feathers and flu arrows. Say that fast.
Right.
Basically, in the world of archery, an older time company making an improvement with something that's been around
for years.
Yeah,
and still out there hitting it hard. So
right. So
American made.
American made in
northern Wisconsin.
That's
all I can't pronounce the name of that place.
Yeah, exactly. So, but no, those will be coming out with that, and no, it's we're coming up on. Well, we're into March, so hopefully, like we talked about at the beginning of the show. We'll flip a switch here and maybe get warm.
Hopefully. And hopefully we'll have some birthday cake here in about a month and a half.
Right, exactly. You know,
pushing 10 years here.
10 years on the UNJ.
So it's...
maybe we'll have to have a little cake or something.
Yeah. No candles, though.
No candles.
We had a rough spot a couple years back, and I don't want to repeat anything just by accident.
I guess we'll use a flashlight.
There you go.
So
sounds good.
But no, other than that, man, next weekend...
this coming weekend would be at Saginaw Cabela's.
Turkey Classic.
Absolutely.
At your local Cabela's. Mike and I will be at Saginaw.
That's right.
But there's going to be pros at all the Cabela's. So get over to your local Cabela's, check it out.
Seminars.
Absolutely. And then next week, we got a great interview lined up.
Talking more deer hunting.
Yep, more deer hunting.
And talking with Lincoln Roan of
Michigan Let them go and let them grow. So stay tuned for that interview next week, which, you know what, people, it's how did we say it? It was...
it's not about trophy hunting. It's about the science behind it for healthy herds.
And it's one heck of education.
It is. It's packed.
It's packed with education, informative, and what he's got going on with that group here in Michigan, over 21,000 strong of Michigan people only.
Mm-hmm.
So stay tuned for that next week.
All right. Well, I think that's about all I got.
You know what?
It's been a weird show, man. We've had technology problems. We did a little bit of live streaming. We had to cut that short, so we're wrapping up the show without the live streaming. So,
right. But you know
sorry.
what? It's we're gonna work through these issues, and it's technical.
I think I'm gonna break my router.
You know what? I totally understand that, because it seems like every couple of years you have to upgrade your router because technology is just
something's
more
going
and
on.
more.
So one last thing, I want to give a quick shout out to Patrick Cloyd here in Michigan. You're looking at his video right now,
right?
He made that box call.
Okay,
I mean, he just come up with this and made it, and things sounds great. He sent me a message. He says, "Hey, how does this sound? Just made this." And actually, the way it sounded when I first clicked on it, I thought he said he was talking about the lid. I thought he had a broken lid on an old box call.
But he made the whole thing?
He made the whole thing. He said that was, you look at that, he sent me another message back, and he says that was 2 planks the other day, and now it's a box call. So this guy's got some craftsmanship in him, man. I tell you what. So I want to give a quick shout out to him, man. That is a nice piece of work that he did there, and it sounds really good. So, but thanks for sending that video, and man, I hope you have a great turkey season. He's going to hunt here in Michigan for the first time this year, so with a bow for turkeys. So
good deal.
Right on. But that's all I got for you guys this week, so stay tuned. Like I said, we got a great interview next week. You guys tune in, and you guys got anything you want to throw out there, always put it up on our page. We're glad to answer questions and interact back and forth. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the whole 9 yards. That'll do it for us this week, folks. This episode was brought to you by PSC Archery,
Black Eagle Arrows,
Scent Blocker,
Killer Food Plots,
Cabela's,
Spot Shooters,
Antler Action,
Family Traditions Tree Stands,
Tom's Custom Turkey Calls,
and Badass Slingshots.
Thanks for listening, and join us again here next week. Until then, remember, as we always like to say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe. Until next week on the Up North Journal.